This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
In the dead of night, 3 podcasters are huddled around a flickering candle in their cramped studio. Their voices shaking in the darkness as they read chilling tales. They crack jokes, but seemingly in an effort to distract themselves from the fear that they truly feel tonight. Break the tension. I know this much because I'm standing outside of their window watching them right now.
Dun, dun, dun. Are you me out there yelling at 1 a.m.? Or
Help!
Or are you a cat?
That's a cat.
Or
skunk.
All of them have happened.
Yes. Yeah, setting the tone there. Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zack.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last episode, our scariest movie scenes moments.
Speaking of scary, Taylor Carroll says, I almost choked when Joel told Get to go to the nice place.
Oh, I hate the nice
freaking
place.
Funny. Also, I realized I'm a Zack and too scared to watch many scary movies. It's okay. There's lots of us.
There are dozens of us.
Dozens. Sean Pollack says, I lived alone when I first saw The Sixth Sense, and for a month afterward, I couldn't be in my apartment without expecting to see a ghost around every corner. I get it.
Yep.
Yes. That you don't make fort tent things or else Misha Barton's going to throw up. And then finally, Mott said, I don't know what I did to catch strays in this episode.
Oh, yeah. Joel's number one fan.
Had to look up Catch Strays.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Because
no.
I'm old.
That's millennial lingo right there, right?
Is it?
It's
Gen Z?
Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's younger than
Ooh,
me.
scary lingo.
6, 7.
No, don't.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Now we've dated this episode so badly. But that's not what we're talking about today, thank goodness. What are we talking about today, Zach?
Listener submitted spooky stories.
So, back in 2017, we decided to pitch a couple horror movies ourselves. And then in 2018, we had episode 178, Return to Pitch Mountain, where we had the listener submit stuff over.
So good.
And that went pretty well.
I mean,
So well
did it
that
go
we,
well?
So well that we waited until 2021 to do our own pitches again.
I have to earn them, by the way.
And then in 2022, we did episode 376, Spooky Scary Story Time, where we let the listener once again submit stories.
So
So based on the pattern, it's our turn again, right?
Oh.
You'd think.
Hey, I wrote one. Did you guys write one?
We're not going to get to yours, Kent.
Oh, what?
Because
Comfort time, sorry.
once again, we on our social media pages, we reached out and said, hey, send us your spooky stories. And people did. And they showed up in droves. And therefore, we're not going to be able to get to every story. Sorry. We did.
What is it with people who listen to this podcast and being able to creatively write?
I know. But we did. We read every single story. We're going to get to as many as we can during this time. And I do want to put a little bit of a parental advisory on this in the sense, a Baconsale parental advisory.
It's more of a fear and terror one, not a language and...
No.
A little bit family unfriendly.
It's not going to get graphic at all, but it's going to be spooky.
Well,
it's going to be scary.
Anything can be graphic if it's an audio form because it's in your mind.
Could you make sound effects, though, to make it a little more graphic? Gory graphic.
That was a gory door. So, yeah, we are going to go through. We're going to read these. And as always.
Why is that door nude?
Family.
I'm going to give it a pass.
But
I'm going to open that door.
You don't crochet for your doors?
as is the case here on Baconsale, whatever you submit this kind of story to Baconsale, we're going to read it. We're going to try our best to create a mood, but also, more likely than not, there will be some slight mockery, as Ken pointed out in the intro.
Commentary.
To break the tension a bit.
We are both the actual DVD and the director's commentary at the same time.
Ooh,
Yeah. So we could be making fun of ourselves, but mostly you. Right? Can we just, call a spade? If you submitted a story, you're open.
Thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I know it was hard. You've worked hard.
And we're going to take advantage of that vulnerability.
Which, by the way, you did it.
If you didn't know, we actually had a contest going along with this. So you go to our social media pages. We have announced the winners of our contest. Yeah, Scott Sprague won for the listener pitches. It was randomly drawn, and then we had a patron contest that Chad Illum actually wrote. Won.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, it's time to enter the naked door.
No.
Yeah.
When you let Kent allow it, he takes it and runs with it.
Enter the naked door.
No.
Nude door?
But emotionally. Emotionally nude.
This is off to a good start.
Let's
guys, hold on.
Silly away.
Guys,
Silly away.
Hold on.
Oh, shoot.
Hold on. You guys hear that?
Kent, drop the needle now. Okay. Now we have the mood playing. So who's going to start us off with the first story?
I would love to.
All right.
All right.
Are you giving full name as well?
Should I?
Yeah.
Should I?
Shame them.
Well, first name.
I mean, thank you for submitting a story.
Yeah.
First up, The Night Chaser by Alicia Bass. It's nearly midnight as Holly pulls up to the gas station. The only other soul around is the attendant inside the store, scrolling on his phone. Holly picks up the nozzle and chooses the regular unleaded option. All the gas that comes out of there is the same, Grandpa had said when he was teaching her how to fill up the gas tank.
Listen.
So make sure you always pick the cheapest option, Holly Berry.
Wait, is her grandpa Jeff the talking mongoose?
It's true.
Or Adam Sandler.
Yes, it's Adam Sandler.
I hate it when grandpas talk about gas.
Sorry. Oh, gas. I hate when my grandpa has gas.
Guys.
Okay, so
It's all the same game.
So make sure you always pick the cheapest option, Holly Berry. Grandpa's advice hadn't steered her wrong yet. While Holly waits for the gas to fill up, she scrolls through recent photos on her phone and stops on one. It is the last selfie she took with her grandpa. He always hated taking pictures, but he smiled and posed anyway because he'd do anything for her. Holly feels an ache in her chest. She missed him. When she starts scrolling again, she hears something that sounds like sandpaper stuttering along the concrete behind her.
Descriptive.
When she turns to look, she sees a man walking, barely picking up his feet. He's wearing a long trench coat and with dark splotches all over it. And underneath, he's dressed in scuffed up white scrubs. As he walks by Holly, he doesn't even glance at her. Holly thinks maybe his car ran out of gas and he had to walk a long way to get here. Okay. She turns her head away to look at her phone again, but she hears her grandpa's voice in her head say, "Be careful." Holly puts the phone away while the gas finishes filling up. She marks the man, noticing that he made it inside. As Holly is putting the nozzle back in its cradle and pulling her keys out of her pocket.
They call it a cradle?
Gas in the
The gas cradle? Gas in the cradle and the silver spoons. Grandpa has some gas and the man on the moon.
You stepped on a punchline.
Okay.
And pulling the keys out of her pocket, out of the corner of her eye, she sees the man sprinting toward her.
So that would have had much more impact had Kent not cut the sentence in half with his snide commentary.
Sprinting toward her.
That part gave me the chills.
Her keys slip from her hand as she vaults back into her car, locking it by slamming the automatic lock button down. Not as dramatic as back in the day. When he
Yeah.
The man stops outside the door. His eyes are wide and focused solely on Holly as he grits his teeth and breathes heavily. Without breaking eye contact, he slowly lowers himself down to pick up the keys she dropped on the ground. Holly could feel her galloping heartbeat in her ears. The man finally glances away to look for the key fob as Holly moves her hands toward the door. On one hand stays the lock button, on the other stays the lock itself. He frantically starts pushing the unlock button with one hand and pulling on the door handle with the other, but Holly is too quick for him and presses the lock back into place before he can open the door. He yells in frustration and hits the car. He makes eye contact with Holly again before turning and stalking back inside the gas station with Holly's keys still in hand.
Not good.
Holly remembers the gas station attendant and starts honking her car horn to get his attention, but as she scans the floor-to-ceiling windows, she sees the attendant on the floor. His eyes are closed. His phone is on the floor by his hand.
You know, in Maverick, they're always falling asleep now because you do the self-checkout. They don't even pay attention anymore.
Just on his break.
Yeah.
She doesn't see the man anywhere. Holly lets go of the horn and retrieves her phone. She holds down the side button and slides the on-screen icon to notify emergency services.
I never know if I'm turning my phone off or notifying emergency services. It's always
it's always
a
by
risk.
accident until it isn't.
Yeah.
When she looks back up at the gas station, she sees the man. He has a fire extinguisher and is trudging back toward Holly. He's going to break her window open. Think, Holly. You can't outrun him. You need to do something. Words from her grandfather flashed through her mind. You can't beat a man at a game.
That's not Grandpa's voice.
Sorry. You can't beat a man at a game he sets up. So you have to change the rules. Make the game yours. Holly puts the phone down on the passenger seat and starts rummaging through the items in the back seat. She feels something long and thin, but metallic and heavy, then pulls out a tire iron. Oh, nice. Holly formulates a plan. She brings her legs up on the seat, unlocks the door, and opens it ever so slightly as she turns her whole body to face the door. She watches as the man closes in on her. When he lifts the fire extinguisher to break the driver's side window, Holly kicks the door open as hard as she can, hitting the man and making him stumble backward. Nice. Holly scrambles out of the car and swings the tire iron as hard as she can at the man's head. There's a sickening thud when the tire iron makes contact, and the man moans and doubles over in pain, cradling his head. Holly doesn't look back as she bolts inside the gas station store. When she comes up to the attendant, she tries to rouse him, but it's no good. There's a pool of blood on the floor. He's either out cold or dead.
If there's a pool of blood,
it's
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean towards
that you
dead.
thought that I had died.
Yeah. It's seriously maimed.
She doesn't have time to figure out which. Holly looks back toward her car, but she doesn't see the man. Terror drenches Holly as she grabs the attendant's phone, rushes to the women's bathroom. She locks the door behind her and presses her back up against it. She calls 911. Outside the door, Holly expects to hear the man yelling, rummaging around, and tearing to get to her. But all she hears is unearthly silence. 911, what's your emergency? I'm at a gas station just outside of town. There's a man who attacked the attendant and is trying to attack me. Okay, we've dispatched police from a previous alert. They're nearly there. Are you able to barricade yourself in a locked room? Yes, I'm in the women's bathroom. Good. Stay put. Officers are pulling up now. Holly finally hears sirens approaching. A few minutes later, officers knock on the bathroom door, instructing her to come out. Explaining
I'm in here.
That someone's in here.
Sorry.
Someone's in here. Explaining that the coast is clear. Relief washes over her. Holly asks a police officer helping her, "Did you catch him?" "Unfortunately, no, miss. We've been trying to chase him down all night. You're lucky to be alive. He's killed at least 4 folks tonight." "Do you know who the man is?" "We think we have an idea. A man named Troy Reed went missing from a psychiatric hospital a few hours ago, but we haven't been able to confirm his identity yet." "A patient escaped?" "Oh, no, he works there. According to his coworkers, something grisly happened on shift tonight, and he just snapped and left. They called us, worried about his safety." After EMTs check her over and Holly gives her statement to the police, she recovers her phone from her car and calls her roommate to pick her up. As she's sitting on the sidewalk, she hears someone say, "You did good, Holly Berry." She could pick that voice out from anywhere.
It's Grandpa.
When Holly turns to look, she doesn't see anyone near her, just officers processing the scene inside.
See, I was expecting more of a "You did good, Holly Berry." Like it's Grandpa, isn't it? Isn't that last voice Grandpa?
Oh, the guy is Troy Reed. Was it?
Oh, open-ended.
No, he wouldn't
Good
say
story.
"You did good, Holly Berry," because only her grandpa called her Holly Berry.
I'm not going to Adam Sandler the punchline.
Yeah, I'm going to greenlight this one.
Green light.
I think it
very realistic.
does it set up a bigger story? Is this all we need?
I think the chills are in the reels.
That creeped me out when he has her key.
How clean is the bathroom? That's what I need to know.
It's a Maverick bathroom. You're okay.
Okay.
Solid.
No, not a Maverick bathroom because there's no door to the Maverick bathroom. There's only stalls.
Oh, that'd be bad.
Okay, can I read the next one?
Yes.
This next story is called Lara or Laura of the Woods.
Or Wads.
No.
Laura of the Wads.
Hey, Scott, is it Lara or Laura? That's what I
I
want to
think
know.
the AU implies
It's either Laura of the Woods or Lara of the Wads.
I'm Lara guy.
Wads.
Lara of the Wads.
Yeah.
By Scott Sprague. This story takes place in the summer of 1988 in the small town of Trafalgar, Indiana. Trafalgar. Lara of the Wards of Trafalgar. I was 10 years old. You can believe it or not, but I was there, and what happened has stayed with me ever since. My family lived out in the country, about 30 minutes from the nearest grocery store. I had 2 sisters, which meant I spent a lot of time playing on my own.
What does that mean?
It just happens.
Listen, when you have sisters, you don't want to hang out with them.
So, okay, so the protagonist is a male. Is that what he's saying? I'm a boy, therefore I didn't play with my sisters?
Yes.
Okay, I was a little confused by that. He just says,
Sometimes they make you play with Barbies.
I have
Been there.
sisters, so I played on my own.
Behind our house stretched a patch of wood shared by 5 families: the Nettles, the Robinsons, the Mitchells, us Smiths, and one more that we called the Mystery House.
Mystery Shack?
Everyone knew the other families, but nobody seemed to know who lived there. The house sat back among the tall hedges, larger than any of the others, 3 stories high with a single window jutting from the top like a watchful eye. That summer I spent hours in a hidden spot by a creek, playing with my bag of toy soldiers, playing,
Step by step, heart to heart, left, right, left, all fall down.
I better hurry.
We're gonna read
From there, I could still hear my mom calling. But I also had a perfect view of the Mystery House. I used to stare at that upper window and wonder what was going on inside. One afternoon, something changed. The air felt heavy and strange. Every hair on my neck stood up. I was certain someone was watching me, but not from the window. But right there in the woods, I froze. After what felt like forever, I scooped up my toys and walked calmly back to the house without turning around. For days I stayed away. Eventually I convinced myself it was just my imagination running wild too fast. That's from an Erasure song. And went back, this time without my toys. I even returned to the same spot. Again, that feeling of being watched crept over me. I turned toward home, ready to leave. That's when a soft voice said,
What kind of soft voice was that?
Yeah. You don't have to go. Oh, it was a girl. You don't have to go. About my age, with dark brown eyes and a mop of a brown hair like Peppermint Patty from the comics. She said her name was Laura, or Laura, depending on what she prefers, and that she lived in a mystery house with her parents. She led me to a part of the woods I'd never seen before, where a homemade swing hung from 2 trees. She'd sit there, swinging gently, asking me questions about my life. When I asked about hers, she'd hop off and change the subject. Her clothes never seemed to fit quite right, too big or too small. She said she was homeschooled and told me her bedroom was the one behind the little window at the top of the house. For days we met like that. It felt like having a secret friend. One afternoon, she showed me her name carved in the bark of the tree. Then she reached up into its hollow and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. Family friendly.
Yeah.
She said she had taken from her mom. She even showed me how to smoke one. At 10 years old, I thought it was daring and strange, but I never told my parents.
Don't smoke, kids.
And then, one summer day, she was simply gone. Is this like Bridge to Terabithia? Mm-hmm. I waited at the swing, but she never came back. The next year, the mystery house went up for sale. My sister and I begged to see the open house. Inside, we met a woman with Laura's same dark eyes. My mother introduced us, and the woman said quietly that she had lost her daughter a few years before.
He said it that way because there was quotes around it. Lost. She showed us the 1st and 2nd floors. My heart was pounding. When she thanked us for coming and turned toward the door, I blurted out, "Could we see the 3rd floor?" I knew it was there. Laura had told me. The woman paused and looked straight at me. "The 3rd floor is closed off." Is she like 80 all of a sudden?
It's actually the same grandpa talking about unleaded gas.
The 3rd floor is closed off.
She said with this polite smile that didn't reach her eyes, "It's just storage now." Then she bent down
She's not old.
slightly and added, "What's wrong, little guy? You look like you've seen a ghost." We left quietly. My mom told me not to go in the woods alone anymore. My sister started calling her Laura of the woods. Lord. I stayed away, except once. I looked up at the window and saw someone watching. It wasn't Laura.
Yanny.
It was her mother. 18 years passed. My uncle bought one of the old houses and invited us for a cookout. My sister brought up Laura, and for the first time in years, I told the whole story. This time I even mentioned the cigarettes. My sister's eyes grew wide. She had never heard that part. She convinced me to show her, and my wife, the old swing in the tree where Laura had carved her name inside of a heart. It was still there, and in the hollow of the tree, just where Laura had once reached, was an old pack of cigarettes, brittle with age. That moment shook me. For years I had been sure I played with a ghost. Now I wondered if she had been real after all. A few months later, I was sick with a fever and had a vivid dream. I was walking along the old trail. Laura was sitting on a bench, giggling softly, like she had a secret. As I drew closer, she reached up, pulled out her hair, and it came away in her hand like a wig.
She was a zombie.
Underneath were the same dark eyes as her mother's. I woke up shouting. All at once I understood. It had never been a little girl at all. She had asked me endless questions, but never let me ask about her own life. She wore clothes that didn't fit. She lived in a floor no one was allowed to see, and her mother had said that she lost her daughter years before. I hadn't been friends with a ghost. I'd been talking to a grown woman pretending to be a child, wearing her dead daughter's clothes. That memory of the summer still gives me chills, and when I tell the story, I can still see that small window watching me from the top of the mystery house.
But how could she pass for a little girl when she's 82?
That's
what her voice sounded like.
Your skin gets really soft.
Whoa. I'm trying to figure out how a grown woman can pass as a little girl in that way.
Orphan.
They all scare me. Green light.
Good point.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, then I guess it's up to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this.
Up to you? Like, there was no
It's
hope.
up to me next because I'm going to be reading KP Brown's story, spooky story. Doesn't have a title. It all started on a foggy October night. Naturally, the best time to record a Halloween episode. The Baconsale trio. Oh, hey guys.
Oh,
it's not us.
Yeah.
Joel.
Kent.
Zach.
Had gathered in Joel's basement studio surrounded by Funko Pops, cables, and an alarming number of half-empty Mountain Dew cans.
Joel's basement studio.
Funko Pops. Cables? What is happening?
Mountain Dew.
Cables, I guess the mic's.
KP, be a better stalker.
Joel adjusted his mic. All right, gents, tonight's topic, the scariest movie ever. Kent, this is your moment. Convince me that horror isn't just bad lighting and poor decision making. What? Why?
Yeah.
In what world am I going to try and get Kent to convince me horror?
You hate horror.
I'm a horror critic. Kent grinned, his eyes glinting like a mad scientist. Oh, it's not just bad lighting, Joel. It's artful dread, the tension, the music, the way. Yeah, Zack interrupted, spinning in his chair. Can we just make sure this one doesn't go 3 hours like the favorite condiments episode? That wasn't 3 hours. There's so many factual things here. I'm sorry. Joel rolled his eyes. You're just bitter because mustard won.
Are you a hero?
It's just me. I am bitter, Zack said.
I am
bitter like mustard.
Bitter like mustard.
Hold on. Why in this world I hate horror movies and Zack hates mustard?
Yeah.
What alternate reality is this?
Zack, noted mustard hater.
Hey, but guess what? Voice cracking? Accurate.
It's pretty good.
They laughed and the red recording light flicked on. But then, right in the middle of Kent's passionate defense of the Babadook, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the room, followed by the unmistakable sound of static whispering through the headphones. Did you touch something? Zack asked, pulling off his cans.
Pulling off his
Wait,
cans?
What?
Headphones.
Oh, phew.
No, Joel said, but one of the kids might have turned on the blender upstairs again. What kids? Where are we recording
your
this?
basement.
Your basement.
Oh.
There's so many children.
Then came the voice, a faint, distorted whisper. It crawled out of the static and into their ears. You shouldn't have pressed record.
Weird about ear stuff.
Kent froze. Please tell me that's one of your kids, Joel.
Accurate.
Joel frowned. If one of my kids can modulate their voice like that, they're getting an agent. The whisper grew louder. We've been waiting for a new episode.
It's actually pretty good. It's really good.
The three exchanged uneasy glances. Fans get intense, Zack muttered. But this is next level patron energy. Patron energy, yeah.
I became a newsie.
Yeah.
The studio door creaked open slowly. Too slowly. No one was there, only the faint scent of bacon grease wafting through the air.
Yum.
Kent sniffed. Is that bacon? Joel blinked. I didn't cook bacon tonight. That's impossible, Zack said. There's always bacon near you.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
That's my new tagline.
Before Joel could respond, the voice came again, this time from all around them. We loved episode 186, but you never finished episode 187. Now, I looked this up, by the way, side note.
Yeah.
186 was our season finale where we recapped the entire previous episode. And then
Yeah. Even scarier.
and 187 was our movie looking forward. So the research was not done here. Kent's eyes widened. Wait, episode 187? That was the one we lost when the hard drive crashed. Not true.
What could have been?
The one where we reviewed The Sixth Sense, Joel said slowly, and you spoiled the twist 3 minutes in.
Party foul.
That's
Also not true. We've actually never spoiled The Sixth Sense.
Wow.
But Kent would in this alternate multiverse.
Yes, it's shown in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Multiverse.
Kent shrugged. It's been out for 25 years. There's a statute of limitations on spoilers. Then the lights went out. Total darkness. Then thunk.
Who would have thunk?
Something heavy dropped on the desk. Joel reached for his phone's flashlight. The beam illuminated a dusty, ancient cassette tape. On it, written in greasy fingerprints, were the words, Episode 187, do not play. Well, Kent said, we have to play it.
I hate rules.
Zack groaned. Oh, of course we do. Because in every horror movie, that's the smart move.
I'm now Chris Pratt as Mario.
Joel, always up for improv, shrugged. Yes, and let's do it. They slid the tape into an old tape player Joel had lying around for nostalgia. The moment it clicked, the temperature dropped 10 degrees.
He would.
The speakers crackled to life. Welcome to Baconsale forever. Then came the distorted laughter, their own laughter, echoing back at them, warped and demonic. Kent leaned in. Okay, that's legitimately creepy.
Zoinks.
Joel forced a chuckle.
Holy.
Maybe it's just an old test recording. Zack pointed. Then why is it talking about us right now? The tape voice continued. Joel will deny it. Kent will analyze it. Zack will fade away. Suddenly, Zack's mic shorted out. Sparks flew. His headphones hissed.
Garth!
Zack's voice was distant, muffled, as if he were speaking from the other end of a long tunnel. Kent panicked. Zack! Zack!
Not another co-host.
Joel lunged to stop the tape, but it wouldn't eject. The reels kept spinning. The whispering filled the air again, like thousands of voices murmuring in unison. Finish the episode. Then Joel had an idea. We'll improvise the ending. Kent blinked. You want to yes and a ghost? Do you have a better idea? Kent sighed. Fine. The Sixth Sense is a brilliant meditation on grief and perception. Joel added, And the real twist is Zack comes back with better audio. Right on cue, Zack's mic popped on. Did I miss something? Joel grinned. Just your resurrection. The whispering faded. The lights flickered back to normal. The cassette popped out of the player, smoke curling from its edges. The three sat in stunned silence. Finally, Kent exhaled. So, scariest movie ever? Joel smirked. This one. Zack cracked open a Mountain Dew. Let's just review Hocus Pocus next year. What is happening right now?
I don't even know.
As they wrapped up, Joel glanced at the recorder. The red light blinked steadily. But when he checked the playback the next morning, because, I edit the audio.
Yeah. And we're recording in your basement.
Yeah. There was no audio, just a faint whisper on repeat. Baconsale. Forever. The end.
Yeah.
We can never stop doing the show?
Well, in this alternate universe, if I hate horror, Zack hates mustard, I edit
He
the
really
audio.
hates Pulitzer and her.
Episode 187 is not the end of season episode.
187 is the police go for homicide, by the way. Just letting you know.
What?
Strike.
I don't know. I don't think I can't greenlight that. I'm sorry. I just
Well, it involves us, so.
it does.
So any story involving us, we're not greenlighting?
The factual errors make me not greenlight it.
That's it?
Do your research.
That's all?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm going to make a totally falsified Wikipedia page about you.
How dare you? They tried to make a Wikipedia page about Baconsale. It never happened. They wouldn't let them.
But I like that the story what could have gone really scary, but Joel, you saved the day with your voice and made
Of course I did, citizen.
And I was just back with good audio.
Yo.
Wow.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Whatever.
That's cool. You guys want to go hug some girls later?
No. Okay. I mean, yes, and I don't know, whatever. Okay, I will read the next story by Aaron Sandquist called Crying Wolf. I think this one's pretty fun. Henry had heard the tale of the boy who cried wolf. Of course he had. The boy was from his village, and it happened at a harvest time just last year. Well, of course you've heard about it. It was last year. Henry's own family was well acquainted with the boys, and many in their village expected the boy to marry Henry's sister once they came of age. Some nights, she could still be heard stifling her cries when she thought everyone was asleep. When Henry reported this to his parents, their pa shook his head softly with indifference. Her mother's eyes filled with tears, though she turned away before they could spill over. Every morning, when Henry took his family's flock out to graze, he had to pass through the same forest where the boy, Richard, this is the boy who cried wolf.
The boy who cried wolf, his name is Richard.
Richard.
Shocking revelation.
Yes. Met his brutal aunt. Recall how that story ended.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of the children were intimately familiar with these woods, having played in them as soon as they could walk, searching for wild berries and mushrooms and hunting game once they were old enough to help put food on the table. After Richard, though, there were hardly any children that dared to venture too far in. Richard always enjoyed a joke, but he took this one much too far. He beckoned many brave villagers to the forest with cries of, "Wolf! Wolf!" Men and young boys brought whatever they could arm themselves with to defend the boy, but when they arrived, they only saw Richard lying on the forest floor with laughter at their foolishness.
Oh, Richard.
Oh, Richard. Later that week, he had done it again. He thought it was even funnier this time, though fewer came to help him. A few days after that, a third call for help came. This time, no one came to his aid. Unfortunately for Richard, there truly was a wolf this day. His mangled remains were found the next morning when his pa went in search of him.
Did he deserve it?
For he hadn't returned that night. Yes.
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, the boy. He's a boy.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Little liar.
Henry often thought he heard twigs snapping and bird calling danger to one another. But tonight...
Sorry, just bird calling danger to one another.
It is bird.
Birds, probably.
Birds calling danger to one another. But tonight, when guiding his flock home, he truly did. He turned quickly to find moonlight glinting off of deadened eyes, though the creature they belonged to stayed hidden. "Wolf! Help! Wolf!" he cried, trying his best to gather the sheep and convince them through the forest. Convince them? Yes. And convince them through the forest to safety.
You need to convince the sheep.
You have to convince the sheep. Other villagers arrived hesitantly, and by the time they stood looking for the beast, none could be found. They scowled at Henry, thinking he had learned nothing from the demise of Richard.
Copycat.
The very next night, those eyes appeared again. Before Henry could call for help, the thought occurred that none would come. With the moon now full, Henry could see more of the creature. The outline in the light told him that his creature was all wrong. Its joints protruded at unnatural angles and were much too long. Something wet dripped from its large, sharp teeth, and a stench of rot could be smelled as it breathed. The fur on its back stood up as Henry approached to see what it was, as it was most certainly not a wolf. The beast began to change. It seemed to become smaller, and the hair disappeared until it seemed almost human. Henry, it said brusquely with a deep, harsh voice.
That was so deep and harsh.
Yes, can we get a little deeper and harsher?
That was basically Punky Brewster.
Here we go.
Henry.
Henry. Do it, Joel. Do it.
Henry.
It said brusquely with a deep, harsh voice. Henry's own eyes grew wide with terror and realization, filling with tears. He stammered out a single word. Pa? The voice laughed. Henry, it said again, it's time you learned your family's true role in this world.
Henry's dad is the one that killed Richard?
The wolf monster
Wait.
thing with the weird arms.
Did he knock on the bathroom door? Did he kind of look like a wolf beaver? And
Scott,
is teaching his...
There's a very logical explanation for this.
I like it.
Teen Wolf. Yeah.
I like it.
Nice little twist there on an old fable. I like it.
Because,
And imagine you have to now push the cycle forward.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, for this next story, we have one of our pitch all-stars, Drew Cutler. And for this story,
Hey, now.
when I'm when I'm ready for you, I would like us all to read our parts. But I'll let you know.
Well, our parts, well, what are we picking? I'm looking here at the script, and there's a Ken, there's a Joe, and there's a Chad.
You know, we're going to forget about...
And a Zash.
Oh, that's all Kent.
This story is called Pale Man's Embrace. This is going to be a killer episode of Pop Culture Guys, Ken said, trailing a security guard through the dark, musty halls of the old convention center.
It's actually a really good name.
Pop Culture Geist.
I kind of really like it.
EVPs in a place like this? Pure gold. Happy to help, Chad replied, flashlight beam bouncing off cracked walls. Hurricane Christy flooded this place in 25 and insurance bailed. It's been locked up since, probably getting demolished. Just don't air this till October. I'm retiring soon. Of course not, Chad. This is definitely an October episode.
Hey, that's me.
Joe responded. No, it's Joe.
Oh,
It's not you.
It's Joe.
he did the hero voice.
Are you sticking around with us? See, I never know. Nah, I got rounds. Back at 3 a.m. to let you out. Don't trip the silent alarm. Chad pointed to gray double doors. Main hall's there.
You ever hear any ghosts?
Not yet, Zach.
Oh.
Zach.
Oh, right.
Hey, and it's not you, it's Zach with an H.
That's right.
Ever hear any ghosts? Zach asked, half joking. Chad shrugged. Just creaks and wind. I listen to Pop Culture Guys for the trivia, not hauntings. Call me if you need me. As Chad left, Zach started recording, and Ken and Joe pushed open the doors. A sour mildew stench hit them, mingled with the faint buzz of flies. Their flashlights swept over the tattered booths. Faded signs for a Blue Beetle cast panel. What? And upcoming movie posters. Miscellaneous cheap swag from China littered the floor. On the table of one booth, an anonymously pristine Funko Pop. There's a lot of Funko Pops of Abe Sapien from Hellboy sat staring at the podcasters. This is so cool. It's like a time capsule to 2025, Joe said, looking around.
Spot on.
And not just the new movies and shows of 2025, but where different celebrities were in their career. Look at the cast of Blue Beetle. Who knew that Zolo Mardunia, that would be his only movie? Don't forget he also voiced Brainy Smurf and Smurfs, Ken corrected. Yeah, but that's animated. Doesn't count, Joe retorted.
Like I'm the only one that gets a voice.
Yeah.
Save it for the show.
Prominent. Yeah. Well, like I said, hey, save it for the show, Zach jumped in. I'll set the equipment up on the stage over there while you guys get some footage and look around. And see, why have I done this? And see if you can find anything on 3 people who disappeared from here on the night of the hurricane. Who were they again? Well, it was one of the regular guys attending the convention, Solo Murderer, and Doug Jones, Joe responded. But we don't know if they all died here or what happened. It was a bad storm. And all we know, this is the last place that we're seen alive. Solo was found dead in his hotel room, drowned in a bathtub. Doug was the only one who disappeared. I heard Doug Jones always gave the best hugs, Ken added. Doug, are you here? Do you give any good hugs? I said save for the show, Zach interjected. I'm so sorry. Joel, you ruined everything.
We're just killing it.
Joe, Zach, and Ken got down to business recording the episode of Pop Culture Guys, sifting through some of the memorabilia found among the booths and discussing the career of Doug Jones from one of the best episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer to his iconic role as Pale Man in Pan's Labyrinth with eyeballs in the palms of his hands. So did you get anything? Chad asked, setting a box of Mountain Dews on the table, of course. There are a few things that seem like EVPs. I won't really know until I go back and listen while I edit the episode. And I do, Ken said. But we had some good discussions and content. You'll like this episode. I'm going to go home and try to edit it before I go to Finland for a couple weeks. That's mean. Finland? Got a hot date there? Chad asked.
I could genuinely hear Chad saying that.
Of course, he does. Or do you even watch the show? Joe asked. Isn't Finland the last country in Europe that you haven't dated someone from? Zach quipped. I still haven't dated anyone from Estonia. Anyways, let's go. I've got work to do. Ken said, heading to the exit. 11:15 a.m.
Now, this part is kind of weird because this is like supposed to be a chat.
It becomes,
us all?
Yeah, but in screenplay form,
Yeah.
we're now going to perform the conversation.
Yes.
11:15 a.m. Guys, EVPs are epic.
Really? Actual words or just you gulping dew? GIF of Homer Simpson drinking soda.
Send them. I bet it's just you chewing Haribo frogs.
You tell me. Sending now. 11:22 a.m.
Got it. Sounds like ugga ugga ooh. Caveman's ghost? GIF of Phil Hartman, caveman lawyer. Okay, yeah, I hear it.
Listen again. Before the ugga, it's a bee.
Oh, I just got out of meeting. Listening now. Yup. Bugga bugga boo.
Me too. I hear it. Could be pugga pugga poo? GIF of pug dog.
Superhero here. I hear B, not P.
Sending another.
Superhero.
11:37 a.m.
On EVP2, I just hear ugh, no P or B.
Listen closely at the beginning. Before the ugh. Super creepy.
Ooh, one ugh.
Do you want a hug?
Yes, actually. Could I get a hug right now, Joel? Would that be all right? Because that voice.
Guys, it's confusing.
I'm pregnant, Joel. I'm
Stop,
pregnant.
friendly.
It's us talking.
It's confusing enough.
Remember what I said about Doug Jones giving the best hugs?
GIF of shape of water, underwater embrace. OMG.
No way. I hear do you want a hug? I can't not hear it.
I hear it too. Totally Doug. GIF of the pale man.
Such long arms.
Okay, getting back to editing. Just wanted to share.
Just a deep dive. Did you know Doug would sometimes whisper bugga bugga boo in people's ears when he hugged them?
That's wild. We need a follow-up segment to include that. If we had known about this before, it would have seemed less real. When's your flight? I literally asked you that the other day. Any chance we could record something before you leave?
No, too much work. Leaving at 3. Got an Uber.
Let us know if you need anything.
When you get back then.
5:11 p.m.
Ken, how you doing? Get the up done? When are we getting the first Finland Marco Polo?
8:42 a.m.
You heard from Kay yet?
No. Should be in Finland. Probably just jet-lagged.
Bet we only get 5 Marco Polos from Finland. Ha.
9:22 p.m.
I'm worried.
Me too. Checking his location.
He shares his location with you? He never shared with me. Rude.
Hold on.
Hey, what's up?
Joe asked as he answered the call from Zack.
Ken's location is showing up as his apartment?
Zack responded.
So he forgot his phone? No way.
Yeah, he had to have used his phone for the Uber and his plane tickets and his takeoff soundtrack. Yeah, no way he forgot his phone. I'm driving to his house now.
I'll meet you there.
Passage of time.
I just banged... How did we get roped into this?
I know.
Okay. I just banged on his door and no answer.
Zack said as Joe walked up.
Have you tried calling his phone again?
Yeah, no answer still.
Okay, let's break in. Something weird is going on.
Joe then picked up a large rock from the flower bed.
Whoa, hold on. I have a key.
Zack said as he pushed Joe's hand with the rock down.
You have a key?
Yeah, he gave it to me a while back, just in case.
Zack responded as he unlocked the door. Upon opening, a pungent smell wafted out.
Oh, Joe, can you call the police? Ken, are you home?
Zack yelled.
We're coming in.
Joe dialed 911 as he looked around. Ken's suitcase was sitting next to the door and dishes littered the coffee table. Flies buzzed up and down the hall.
That's just how it usually is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an emergency. Our friend was supposed to go to Finland, but he's not answering, and we're at his house, and it smells bad. And, yes, the address is 123 Sunshine Street, Farmingville. His suitcase is by the door. He was going to take an Uber to the airport. It smells bad. It smells bad.
IT does smell bad.
It smells bad, and there are lots of flies in the house. Yeah, I'll stay on the line. I'm going to put you on speaker while we go in.
Dispatcher.
Police are en route. Stay outside until they arrive.
I'm just going to go check the hallway.
Zack whispered, then yelled.
Ken!
Yeah, we're going to check things out. It doesn't look like a break-in or a robbery.
Joe continued with the police dispatcher.
Ken, we're going to check his room.
As they pushed the door open, they found Ken sitting in his chair, arms wrapped around himself like he was giving himself a hug. Headphones dingled around his neck. Zack walked up and touched him on the shoulder.
Ken?
He said, then jumped away, spinning the chair, and screamed. Ken's eye sockets were empty, blood crusted around them.
He's here in his office, and oh my gosh, his eyes are gone.
Dispatcher.
Is he alive? Can you check his pulse?
He's dead.
Joe yelled into the phone. Zack stood frozen, staring at Ken as the chair spun slowly and rolled away from the desk. The cord of Ken's headphones pulled tight and then pulled free of the computer, bringing the screens to life. Static noise bled from the speakers. Then Ken's body tipped out of the chair and thudded to the floor. This is graphic. His arms unwrapped from his body, revealing the slits in the palms of his hands, and Ken's eyes staring blankly out.
He's dead. Hello. Hello. Are you still there?
Joe yelled at the dispatcher, calmly enough. Just white noise came from the phone. White noise emanated from the speakers. The buzzing drone of flies added to the oppressive silence. Then everything stopped, and a voice whispered from the speakers, "Booga, booga, boo."
I'm sorry. It seems we lost you for a second. Police are en route. Please do not touch any...
The dispatcher was replaced by white noise, and then a voice whispered, "Do you need a hug?" Zack and Joe stood silently as they began to hug themselves, and another voice came from the closet. "Isn't this nice?"
Yeah, creepy there
That
at
was
the end.
experimental, and I like how I was reading the story, but then the voices just became a play.
So look, I think that was a legitimately creepy ending. I like
It was a good ending.
If I were to greenlight this, though, I would say cut out the whole I am conversation in the middle, because that just got, I think we got that bogged down the story. I feel.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. I did like the ending, though.
A bit of realism, though.
Very referential.
Yeah.
Very referential. If you don't know about Kent meeting Doug Jones and him and Doug Jones whispering "bugga bugga boo" in his ear,
And way too many Blue Beetle references for my
when
liking.
did we talk about that? Which episode was that on? Was that on
It was a
Pet
pick and
Mode?
bit a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it was a Bacon bit. So that wasn't even a regular episode.
Inside jokes on Baconsale.
Wow, that's really inside baseball.
Patreon.com/Baconsale.
All right, Joel, even though you read a lot of that story, will you read the next one?
Yes. So the story I'm going to read is from Edith Diddick, and it's called "The Book That Writes Back."
Okay.
The bell above the antique shop door chimed as Sarah stepped inside. The place smelled of dust, old paper, and something metallic underneath, like rust or dried blood. Every corner was crowded, shelves sagging under clocks, porcelain dolls lined the ceiling with eyes that followed you, mirrors that seemed to breathe dust. Sarah loved it.
Ooh, I like that description. It's very, very nice.
She'd always had a taste for odd things, objects with histories, things that felt alive. It made her feel less alone. "Looking for anything in particular?" a man asked from behind the counter. He was tall, thin, with pale skin and a tired smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I like peculiar things," she said.
Big Baconsale.
"Something with a story." He considered her. "I think I have just the thing." He bent below the counter and lifted a weathered leather journal. Its cover was cracked and dry, the clasp bent and tarnished. The edges of the pages were blackened as if they'd been singed. "This book is different," he said quietly. "They say it writes back."
Like a text? Like it returns a text? Like it doesn't leave you unread?
"You up?"
LOL.
Sarah gave a small laugh. "You mean like haunted?" He smiled wider. "If it likes you."
Ooh.
She bought it, of course. Curiosity was her worst habit. That night, she opened the book at her desk. The lamplight flickered, trembling on the paper. Entry 1. "Hello, my name is Sarah. What's yours?" She waited a few minutes. Nothing happened. It was silly, a prop probably, or some trick with disappearing ink. Still, she left it on the nightstand beside her bed. When she woke up the next morning, there was new writing in the book. Entry 2. "Hello, Harry. My name is Marvel. Tom Marvel Ritter."
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'm sorry. I had a thought.
Ruined it. It was so
No.
scary so far.
Here we go. Entry 2. "Hello, Sarah. My name is Thomas. I'm glad you found me." She stared at the words. The ink was fresh, damp almost. Her heart raced, but a delighted sort of fear. She laughed nervously and touched the ink with her fingertip. It smudged. "Okay," she whispered. "That's weird." Over the next few nights, she wrote and woke to a response. Thomas told her he had lived long ago, a bookbinder in the early 1900s. He had no family, no friends. He said he was lonely, trapped in the book, and could only rest once it was filled with his story. After several days, the question shifted. Instead of learning about Thomas, he was the one asking questions about her. Sarah, friend. Sarah found herself confiding in him. She wrote about her insomnia, her quiet apartment, the loneliness that clung to her since her sister's death. He replied with a gentle sympathy. It felt good, in a way, like she had someone again. Until one morning she opened her book to find a different kind of entry. Entry 12. I followed you to work today.
Ooh.
You looked beautiful. I liked the purple scarf. You smiled at a man on the train. I hated that. Sarah slammed the book shut. Sarah froze. Her pulse quickened. She flipped through the book. How could Thomas follow her? And what was she really getting herself into interacting with this object? She realized that she liked the company so much she never thought about what it really was. She shut the journal hard and shoved it into her dresser drawer. 3 days passed. She didn't open it. She barely slept. Once, she thought she heard her front door creak, but when she checked, it was locked. On the 4th night, she came home from work to find the journal on her bed, open, waiting. The pages were filled, lines and lines of frantic handwriting she didn't recognize. Why won't you write me back? Didn't you miss me? You shouldn't ignore me, Sarah. It hurts when you ignore me.
She's trying to ghost him.
The next page was filled, front to back, with frantic, angry scrawlings. Right back, right back, right back. Don't leave me alone again. I'll make you pay for ignoring me. She dropped the book like it burned her hands trembling. There were black smudges on her comforter, like someone had been writing right there, sitting on her bed. She called the police. They checked her locks, her windows. Everything was intact. No signs of a break-in. The officer gave her a look, the kind reserved for people they think are fragile. Maybe you left it open yourself, he said gently. Try to rest. Stress does strange things. At work, her boss told her to go home and see a doctor. She was a mess from lack of sleep. The next morning, she was at the clinic. Her doctor said, paranoia from sleep deprivation, he diagnosed. I'll prescribe something mild. It'll help you rest. If you can't ever sleep or feel like you're having a panic attack, take 2. She started taking the pills, and for a while, things quieted. Then one night, she woke up to find the lamp on and the book open again. New words shimmered across the page, fresh and wet. I forgive you. You were just scared. But you don't need to be afraid of me. I'll always be here for you.
Manipulation. What a narcissist.
Yeah, I know. It's a jerk. Tears filled her eyes. Please stop, she whispered. Please. She slammed the book shut and threw it across the room. The next week blurred, a fog of medication and fear. She thought she'd heard whispers at night, a creak of floorboards, the faintest scent of tobacco smoke.
It's a girl.
She stopped eating. She started sleeping with the lights on. Finally, one night, she took the doctor's advice and doubled her medication dose. She took the pills and downed a glass of water on her nightstand. She didn't remember feeling it, but her memory had been failing her lately. A few hours later, Sarah woke in darkness, heavy and slow, her mouth dry as sandpaper, a pressure in her chest. Her arm and jaw ached. Something was wrong. Her eyes adjusted, and she realized she wasn't alone. A figure loomed beside the bed. Tall, pale, smiling.
What a hug.
His smile stretched too far, as if his skin had forgotten where to stop. There was no warmth behind it, only a strange stillness, like a mask carved to mimic joy. She tried to scream, but her voice wouldn't come. Her body felt pinned, every muscle thick with exhaustion. Shh, a man's voice said. It's all right, Sarah. You're safe, he said as he rubbed the back of his hand down her cheek with his pointer finger, lifting her chin to him. Her heart stopped. The man stepped into her light of sight. Do you remember me? I missed you, he said softly. It's been lonely without your words. Her mind screamed, no, 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 no. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. You believed in the ghost, didn't you? That was the fun part. You wanted something haunted, and you got it. He leaned down and next to her and inhaled deeply from his nose to smell her. It made her stomach turn. She tried to move, but her limbs were weak, heavy. He noticed her confusion and smiled wider. Oh, don't worry, he murmured. You just took a little too much of your medicine. I've been helping with that. It makes things easier. It's so easy to mask its taste in water. Simple chemistry. He lifted the journal, its pages now filled edge to edge with their conversations. Do you know how long I waited for you? He chuckled. I used to watch you sleep while I wrote. You breathe exactly 19 times a minute. I was so happy when you walked into my shop all those weeks ago, like a gift being delivered on a silver platter.
Sinister.
He set the book on her chest. You've almost finished the story. Just one more page. Her breath hitched as he pulled something from his pocket, her purple scarf. I'll keep this, he whispered. A token to remember you by. And of course, the pages in our book. He leaned close, the scent of tobacco and old paper filling her lungs. Good night, Sarah. Her last thought before darkness swallowed her was the faint scratching of the sound of a pen. When her body was discovered days later, the door was locked from the inside. The police ruled it an overdose. The forensic pathologist blamed her history of paranoia. Months later, the bell above the antique shop door chimed again. A new woman stepped inside, brushing the rain from her coat. She paused, taking in the cluttered shelves, the smell of old paper and metal, the shadows pressed in the corners. The man behind the counter looked up from his book and smiled, slow, practiced, too wide. Looking for anything in particular? He asked. She tilted her head thoughtfully. As she looked at the collection of dolls, one caught her eye. I love that doll with the purple scarf. Is it for sale? He chuckled softly. I'm sorry, but the dolls are not for sale. They're simply a collection I like to grow. She raised an eyebrow. Shame. I love peculiar things, and lately antique dolls seem to be it. A devilish grin crossed his face as he said, I do have something else. Rather peculiar, in fact. It's a journal. They say it writes back to you. She smiled. I'll take it.
Oh, the end.
You're gonna regret that.
So was he breaking into the house to write, or was he?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Supernatural methods.
I thought it was supernatural, but it sounds like he might just be a guy
like
breaking
a
in.
super stalker.
Yeah.
And it was all a game.
Yeah.
That's super dark.
Yeah.
And do you realize how respectful we were being? Because we're like kind of scared.
Yeah. Like the room kind of got a little kind of like, oh, it's a little creepy. So,
Zack, save us.
Good job, Edith. We enjoyed
Seriously.
that. That was fun.
Yeah, why don't I just follow that up with like a real one?
Okay.
A real story. So like a true story.
Yeah, from Zachary Deffenbaugh.
Oh, we've heard from him before.
Baldwin Haunting. I grew up in a small town in Illinois named Redbud. The town next to us was Baldwin. My grandma lived there, and I stayed the night at her house a lot. My Uncle Rocky was just a year and a half older than me, so he was pretty much my best friend. So anytime we could...
Wait, his uncle was just a year and a half older?
It happens, you know, stressed out.
Yeah.
So anytime I could spend time over there with him, I would. My other uncle, Terrell, was in his mid-20s at the time, while my Uncle Rocky and I were 9 and 8.
Okay.
At the stage.
Okay.
One summer, Terrell, and I'm sorry if that's not the right name, but that's what we're going with. One summer, Terrell went with his friends to Hawaii. While there, he found a fist-sized volcanic rock. The story goes for Hawaii that if you bring something home that you didn't pay for, island spirits will follow you home and torment you.
Zach, is that true?
That's what they tell the folks.
Is it really?
Just leave it alone.
Okay. All right.
No, what follows you is the guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Like white people have already taken enough. So cut it out. Okay. His being in his 20s didn't really put much stock in.
Okay.
After being home with it, he went out with some friends. This being the rock.
Yeah.
He went out with some friends, and at the time, Grandma was out with Grandpa, who was a truck driver. They would be gone for the week, so my Aunt Rhonda would watch Rocky and me, and late that night...
Please tell me at some point in the story he says, help me, Rhonda. Please tell me.
Yeah,
Yes.
We'll throw it in. That night, since Mom and Stepdad worked nights at the factory in Sparta...
This is Sparta.
I'm moving to Sparta, which is another neighboring small town. Her husband was also a truck driver, but he did the local runs and was back every night. Their son is my little cousin, Cameron. Now,
I feel like I need a map.
you know
at
the
this
whole...
point.
No, listen.
It's an org chart.
It's 23andMe.
Yeah. He was around 2 when the story takes place. There will be a quiz. While we were all in the living room on the first floor watching TV, I think it was Unwrapped, underrated show, Food Network,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it shows how they make things.
with the guy from Double Dare.
Mark Summers.
Yes. We heard a loud thud from upstairs. My aunt took an immediate inventory of us kids to make sure we're all accounted for. While we were sitting there with her, it happened again. Bang! It sounded like someone took Terrell's weight bench and threw it across the room. The chandelier in the dining room was shaking so hard that with each sway, it was touching the ceiling.
Wait, like up and down or like side to side?
I decide. We looked outside to make sure Terrell was gone and didn't sneak back into the house. Then I checked to see if the train that takes coal to the power plant hadn't hit something on the way there. Everything was clear. No one was in the house except the 4 of us. Then we noticed Cameron left the living room. and walked over to the stairs.
Cameron's a little kid.
The stairs are set up with 3 steps, a platform, then like 15 steps, then another platform with 3 more.
A lot of details.
Yeah.
But is the picture clear?
Yeah,
There we
it
go.
is.
Cameron was on the first platform at the bottom of the steps. He turned his head toward the top of the steps and said, "I'll be there in a minute." For context, Cameron couldn't talk well yet.
But he
Wow.
was 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, I'll be there in a minute. What?
I shall be there in a fortnight, father.
Father.
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. My aunt ran for the steps, grabbed her son, and yelled for us to get out of the house. On the way out, she grabbed the cordless phone and called her husband's dispatch to see where he was and how soon he would be there. We waited outside for several hours. When he finally got there, he went right into the house to look around. 5 minutes later, he came back out. He said there was nothing wrong in there and nothing broken upstairs. Everything was still in place. The next day, Terrell mailed the rock back to Hawaii after looking into how to get rid of the bad mojo. Also, side note for this, the house was already kind of haunted. This is exactly
it's like a little
it was
possessed.
already
And then you bring the
kind
lava
of
rock.
haunted,
Yeah.
but it escalated a lot when the lava rock was there. We would hear voices all the time when no TVs were on. We had objects disappear and then reappear. Kids.
Yeah,
that's
sure. Cameron.
Yep. We had a weird thing with the Halloween decorations being at the top of the basement stairs. It was like a trash bag version of a witch and Frankenstein. There was no way for them to stand up on their own or to just be at the top of the stairs.
Was it Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster?
It's
Dr. Frankenstein.
Dr. Frankenstein,
Yeah.
obviously.
Scary as
Lots of weird stuff here. That's where the story ends. But just imagine, like, you're having to deal with the reality of swinging chandeliers and scary noises.
As a parent, like if I were downstairs and all kids were kind of for and I heard a loud thump upstairs,
Yes.
that would freak me out.
I guess the question is like the house is already a little creepy, and then someone's like, "Hey, I heard kind of like the superstitious thing about if you take something from Hawaii, that you probably like it's going to cause even more destruction or mayhem."
Bring haunted
Would you
rocks.
send it back? Would you mail it back, or would you throw it outside?
When it came back in the mail.
Yeah, dun.
You threw it in the river.
I feel like the meat of
Return to sender.
I feel like the meat of the story was at the end. I feel like I got a little lost at the beginning with a lot of the details. Like there was a lot of weeds here. I think this could be slimmed down. I don't know if I can greenlight it.
We're in good shape.
I think it's
Initially-
the beginning of a scary story. I want to hear more about this lava rock.
Tweaks over there.
Okay, I have a story from Jonathan Vascar.
This one's another true one.
It's called My Spooky Story. When I started working at this group home, I was told the location I was going to be at was known to be haunted and that I would be working the midnight shift. Even though I had seen ghost-like things in my life before, I figured the worst would be a cold room. I was not prepared for what I would see and hear. My first night working with Emily and Shanna.
Names are changed, by the way.
Yes, indeed, to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
Thank you. We all sat in the living room and they discussed the working arrangements with me. Then I told them I'd go clock in downstairs. As I went down the stairs, I saw a mist in the kitchen. I was very tired, so I assumed it was just me. Okay.
Sorry, you created a mist.
Yeah.
Like your
the
cat?
grandpa
Oh, that
said,
must have been me.
all gas is the same. I passed through it and went down the stairs. As I did, I clearly heard, hello. I assumed it was my exhaustion, so I ignored it and went on my way. A few seconds later, I heard it again. Hello. I responded with, hello? Thinking that I was responding to someone who was downstairs, as I could hear someone loudly typing on the computer keyboard downstairs. I didn't hear anything else except for the keyboard. When I got to the bottom of the stairs and turned towards the room, I said, hello? And the typing stopped, then resumed. As I approached the room, the typing stopped again, and no one was there, but the computer was on, like someone had been using it. I was deeply weirded out, and even more so when, after I stepped out of the room and headed upstairs, the typing resumed again.
I would go see what they typed.
I don't know.
Like, what were they typing?
It's the guy, the book that writes back,
All
but it's
work
an
and no
email
play.
that's right back. Yeah. I nearly fell running the rest of the way up the stairs. When I got to the top, the mist was gone, and I laughed at myself, saying I was just tired. Until Emily and Shanna asked if I had met Lucy. I said, who's Lucy?
You think they changed the name Lucy to protect the innocent?
Well, is it an innocent ghost? We don't know that.
That's what I'm wondering.
Who's Lucy? And they looked at a photo on the wall behind the couch that had been taken a couple years before. It had all the residents of the home on it, including Lucy, who had tragically passed away a few months after the picture had been taken. From what Emily and Shanna told me that night, she never left. And that was apparently a good thing, because that place was jam-packed with evil spirits. I'm talking bad. The typing thing was probably fine. It never attacked, but I certainly encountered it many nights and during the day as well. Talk about being obsessed with being online, indeed. But there were many creepy things that attacked residents and us, and I remember more than one night praying and asking for God's protection and knowing that He did. Mind you, I only worked at that location for 6 months before I had enough, and I stopped working the night shift 3 months in. Even in the day, that place was crazy. There was a dog that barked in the backyard, only there was no dog.
Did you check the other side of the fence?
There was mist frequently in the hallway.
I'm a jerk.
Yeah. We could often smell perfume that Lucy was known to wear. Again, from what Emily and Shanna shared. And every once in a while, and only ever on the stairs, she'd say, hello? But I never said hello again.
Rude.
So that's the least scary incident there. Oh, okay, Jonathan is promising us something next year. Oh, Jonathan, to get to share another story next year.
Wait 4 years.
I'll tell you more about it if I feel up to it. I hate remembering that place. And if you remember, Jonathan's previous story was also from the workplace, and he has some real bangers, and they're also scary.
He's got a lot of stories apparently, and apparently he's saving. Like he's
teasing. Jonathan, You're teasing.
He's teasing. Drop the big ones.
Baconsale's only going two more seasons. We know.
Possibly true.
Yeah. Scary.
This next story is by Todd Callan, and we've heard from him before.
Oh, absolutely.
And this one's called "The Witch's Cauldron."
Pumpkin Spice's life.
Pumpkin Spice's life. Janica lives in the neighborhood in Daybreak, Utah, where her whole street is obsessed with having the most Halloween decorations.
I'm already terrified. Daybreak.
Jealous of her neighbor McKindry's yard.
Love it. Such a Utah name.
Janica spent all year acquiring more and more decorations. She even made a special trip to Salem, Massachusetts to purchase authentic witch antiques. She was most excited about a cauldron that was supposedly from the 1600s. The shopkeeper, who claimed to be a real witch, didn't seem very amused when she found out Janica was planning to use the cauldron to serve up her homemade recipe of pumpkin spice Dr. Pepper.
I would drink that.
I wouldn't.
I would.
It was finally Halloween, and Janica and her reluctant husband Greg spent the day making sure every decoration was perfectly placed. They had several giant skeletons, spiders and webs everywhere, tons of fog machines with spooky lighting, a dozen regular-sized skeletons, and several animatronics. Dang. I'm jealous. It seemed there wasn't a square inch of the property that hadn't been decorated. She and her two sisters, Kinsley and Kimberlyn, dressed up as the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus, while Greg stayed inside watching the MLB playoffs.
So basic.
Do those happen in October, Zach?
They're happening right now.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
Spooky.
What? Yes.
Several
He doesn't know.
There's no salaries cap.
I have no
That's
idea.
what's the most spooky.
Several neighbors and trick-or-treaters gathered around Janica's lawn to watch her make her famous pumpkin spice Dr. Pepper in the new cauldron. As she started to stir the mixture, the cauldron began to release a green smoke. More and more neighbors started to show up to see this spectacle. Suddenly, the contents of the cauldron exploded, landing all over the decorations in the yard. Everyone froze in horror as the pumpkin spice-covered decorations started to come to life. All heck broke loose. It's heck in all caps. As Janica's new creatures started tearing the neighborhood to pieces. The huge skeletons were tearing roofs off of houses, flipping cars, and ripping out trees. The army of little skeletons went house to house, vandalizing and terrorizing the whole neighborhood by smashing out windows and lighting things on fire. At first, it was just Janica's decorations, but then it spread to every decoration on the street. The humans were quickly outnumbered. Everywhere you looked, there were werewolves, mummies, giant spiders, and even Chucky dolls running wild. Witches of all sizes were flying through the sky, casting spells on all trick-or-treaters. Janica was horrified to see one of the giant skeletons eat her cat.
Oh, hold on.
Fortunately, it escaped through the ribs.
Did skeletons just chew? Right? They can't really eat anything because they just like would pass through the jaw.
It's like goes
They
down
just
and
chew.
comes out.
Okay.
Yeah. Janica and her daughters ran to hide in her shed, which turned out to be a bad idea because it was full of old Halloween decorations she didn't put out. How many decorations do you need, Janica? How many do you need?
More.
Soon, they were wrestling half put together zombies when suddenly a hand grabbed Janica by the wrist, pulling her and the girls out of the shed. It was Greg. Janica screamed, "Where have you been?" Greg replied, "How long has this been going on?"
Since the third inning.
After a few minutes of fighting off zombie appendages, Greg and Janica got their family safely to the attic. Some of the neighbors tried to put a posse together to fight back, but it was to no avail. There were just too many monsters. Chaos ensued for hours until little by little, the creatures started slowing down. Eventually, they just fell over, as lifeless as they'd become before the pumpkin spice.
Ooh.
Janica and her family finally came out once things seemed to quiet down. It looked like a war zone. The neighborhood was full of debris. Full of debris.
Febreze.
The neighborhood was full of debris, cars lit on fire, and people wandering the streets trying to figure out what just happened. That's when Janica noticed a woman walking down the street with a cauldron. It was the shopkeeper. She looked back at Janica with an evil grin, then jumped on a broom and flew away into the night.
Oh.
What? That's not a twist.
I mean,
They said at the very beginning
it
that she was a
felt like a
witch.
twist to me.
The shopkeeper who claimed to be a real witch.
She was happy about it.
Claimed is doing work there.
I just think I would have
You
been
know
a
how
little,
many people I know who claim
a little
to be
bigger
witch?
twist. It was like the woman at the shop seemed angry. Not mentioning
And
that the
she
witch-
sold him a
best.
journal.
The best twist.
Yeah.
The best twist are right in front of you.
This to me feels like it could be like a Halloween Town style, like Disney movie. Like this seems very family friendly. I think this is marketable.
Bully skeletons, though, right?
Chewing up cats.
Flipping cars. They think they're tough.
Yeah.
You're not tough, skeletons.
Thanks, Todd. I like that one. That was fun.
It was nice.
It's always fun. Or I'd like to take you back, way back, to October. It's October right now. Of 1921.
It is baseball being played at this point.
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay.
But it's played like this, you see? Now, Brecken Cutler.
Oh,
Written this story called Blood and Dust.
Perfect.
This is he's been writing a larger story. This is an excerpt from the story.
Love it.
Congratulations on your creative writing, Brecken Cutler. All right, October 1921. We crouched in shadow, each of us a solitary sentinel in the town of Dusty Ridge, where the night itself seemed to hold its breath. The thing that killed 5 times. Ivo, Tuck, Sally, Douglas, Emmett.
Cameron.
What?
Rocky. Rusty.
You're just saying names. And probably fatally injured Avery. 1 death each night for the past week. My colleagues and I had not slept a wink.
Understandable.
Thackeray's patience frayed unnaturally. Kai's eyes barely stayed open, and my vision betrayed me, conjuring shapes that should not exist, though I'm starting to suspect that has less to do with my lack of adequate rest and more to do with something extraordinary. Kai and Thackeray had resolved to guard the southern end of the town.
I feel like I'm reading a Brandon Sanderson novel at this point. There's way
So
too
you
many
love
characters
it?
for me to keep track of.
Names. Attempting to pierce the cornfields with their struggling eyes. I was positioned on the east side, my gaze struggling against the smothering darkness of the forest. We waited for several hours, the night stretching long. Around about 1 o'clock in the morning, action finally jolted me from the edge of consciousness. I whipped around to the source of the commotion and saw that it had come from Thackeray's hiding place.
Always.
I saw Thackeray plunge from the tree he had positioned himself in, loosing a blood-curdling scream and a spray of blood.
Whoa.
He's next. He hit the ground with a thud that reverberated not from volume, but from importance. That's a line. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. He curled into the fetal position, an unintentional omen of what was about to be birthed.
Ooh.
Law. On the ground, he whimpered and wailed in pain until, suddenly, his noise is cut off. Looking back, I wish it had been because the life had left his body.
What?
Regretfully, it was not so, for the silencing of the vocal cords came from the snap and crack of bones,
Wow.
ligaments, rearranging themselves to
Rice
form
Krispies?
something altogether unspeakable. I would prefer to leave this experience to the sands of time and the forgetfulness of age. However, for the purposes of warning and at the request of my friend, I will attempt to recall the horrific form that took the place of my friend. The thing that Zachary had become
No,
was
Thackeray. Not Zach. You're Zachary.
Sorry.
He's Thackeray.
He's the author. It's the thing that Thackeray
There you go.
had become.
With a K or
Thackeray.
an H?
Zachary Binks.
Listen, Brecken. Here's the deal. My name's Zachary, and I'm very biased towards myself. I'm sorry. The thing that Thackeray had become was an affront to reason, a grotesque conflation of forms that denied both taxonomy and sanity. It loomed vaguely anthropoid in shape.
I'm so happy you had this story.
Yet I know, in shape, yet unmistakably wrong in every detail. One limb ended in what may have aspired to be a crustacean's claw, though the digits had fused into a malformed pincer beneath a pallid membrane, like the skin of some embryonic nightmare. I know what some of these words mean. The other arm stretched downward like the trunk of some gaunt, leafless tree, but as narrow and fragile as one of its upper branches. Its legs, if such they could be called, betrayed some abortive attempt to mimic canine structure. One had bent grotesquely into a reverse-jointed stance, the other arrested mid-transformation, creating a lurching, unstable gait that set the thing swaying with every step. Its body was a riot of textures. Patchy fur gave way to blotches of slick, scaled hide, then to raw, almost human flesh. But the face eclipsed all else. It bore a warped snout, somewhere between a wolf's and a crocodile's, anchored to the jaw that looked disturbingly capable of dislocating and engulfing a man-hull.
Not kidding, so.
4 eyes scattered across the malformed cranium stared with no symmetry or mercy, each glinting with a hideous awareness. As for its height, it might have stood even taller than 10 feet had it not stooped forward, as though the weight of its own unnatural existence bent it toward the earth.
TLDR, it ugly.
There was a moment of intense quiet. Those who had witnessed the unearthly transformation that occurred stood frozen in disbelief, terror, or a combination of the two. The silence was broken by the newly birthed abomination, now in its full, terrifying form as it twisted towards Kai and lunged. Paralyzed by incomprehension, Kai could only stare as he was thrown to the ground as easily as if he were a child. I, too, stood helpless to the horror that the most certainly was about to unfold. And it would have unfolded if it were not for Neil.
Oh, Neil.
Thank goodness.
Neil.
He burst out of his house holding his shotgun. It lunged. Neil fired. The blast tore through the creature's head, but the thing rose, its shape knitting itself anew as if mocking our fragile notions of cause and effect.
Good line.
Neil stopped dead in his tracks, then turned on his heel and ran. He ran so fast, but not fast enough. I was fortunate that Neil had disappeared behind a house by the time the abomination caught up with him. Then arose the most ghastly sound, one that would even chill the strongest man to the very core. Words are not enough to describe it, and good, because I can't read them. It's hard. As is everything about this creature, but I would place it somewhere near a roar, a shriek, and howl.
It's probably his wife saying, "What are you thinking about right now?"
That's true. I witnessed an explosion of wood and debris as it burst into the residence that Neil had gone behind in his final moments, and there were 4 screams, each one cut short after another, all high-pitched. Then it broke through the opposite wall and came into view again. Its head, arms, and chest were coated with bright red blood that glistened in the moonlight. Multiple of its eyes locked on me, and I knew my time was not long for this earth. I ran, but there was nowhere to hide. The air itself seemed to conspire against me as I could not draw a breath. It chased me with its disjointed, stumbling run, despite the inefficiencies. That's a big word. Despite the inefficiencies in its form, it would match a car in speed. It barreled towards me, and I noticed one thing before its jaws engulfed me. The blood was no longer glistening. The mood had set, and when it struck, what hit me was no longer a monster, no longer an abomination. It was only Thackeray.
Oh, he was bad.
Dun, dun, dun.
He's a were-thing.
A weird thing.
Then they just hugged it out, right? Thackeray.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
You ain't Neil. You
How
ain't
dare you.
Neil.
We didn't like Neil anyway. He was only around because
He saved his life, and then he got killed.
we liked him for his stuff.
Our next story is from Chad Ilham, and it's called Lost in the Dark. Everyone is familiar with the feeling of being chased up the stairs by some imagined ghoul after turning off the lights in a basement. You hit the light switch and you sprint as quickly as you can up the steps, the claws of the monster grasping at your heels just barely out of reach. Just as you reach the top, you spin to catch a glimpse of the beast and find nothing but darkness, and are left wondering if the threat disappeared into thin air or was all in your mind. My friend and I always thought this weird common tradition of sorts came about organically. No one ever discusses the monster at the bottom of the stairs until after they have this experience.
True.
It's not something seated in children's minds by parents telling some cautionary tale or taken from some novel or movie, but it exists all the same. We decided to do the fun, rebellious thing and embrace the fear and fight against this random, unspoken tradition. Instead of running up the stairs, whoever turned off all the lights would turn back into the dark and calmly walk as far into the basement as possible, touch the wall, and walk slowly back out and up the stairs.
That doesn't seem smart.
No. We'd even talk about it with our friends when we were hanging out. Play up the scare and story and challenge the most anxious of the group to give it a go. If they refused, one of the two of us would volunteer and have built ourselves a captive audience. It was a blast, and we had a lot of fun with the challenge. But that gnawing feeling of being watched, almost hunted, in the dark never went away, no matter how many times we made the attempt. I'd like to say the challenge just got old. The thrill stale, so we stopped indulging in the performative feat of courage. I wish I could report that it was all just some shared anxiety we've made up in our minds, but what I've seen makes that impossible. Our final attempt haunts me, and I doubt the nightmare will ever leave my thoughts. We were at my friend's old house and had done our usual performance playing up a story to a group of friends at a party. I took on the challenge while looking up at the top landing of the stairs, hit the switch, smiled, and turned into the basement. The basement was half finished, mostly just wooden framing, ductwork, and a couple of walls put up, with a hole in the floor that was mostly filled with water, and a sump pump to prevent flooding. Sump pump.
Is that normal to have a hole in your basement filled with water?
The only light emanated from up the stairs.
Seen a movie?
Or your basement recently? Oh, sorry. I started walking, footsteps echoing across the concrete, my breath providing the only other noise. The furthest point in the basement was right next to the hole filled with water, and I made my way through the darkness and reached for the wall. As my fingers touched the cold concrete, the water started slowly rippling and bubbling over, flooding the ground at my feet with a strange warmth I didn't expect. I turned towards the light coming from the stairwell, and it had turned an ominous red. My heart sank as I looked down and realized the water was flooding the entire basement, nearly reaching the stairs. I started running but slipped, landing face first and splashing to a stop. As I stood myself up, I looked at my hands and realized it wasn't water, but it was an odd red sludge, almost like a partially coagulated blood.
Ew.
I looked back into the basement, and rising from the hole with a pump was a dark, lanky figure with large, jagged claws. It lowered itself onto all fours like some eldritch werewolf. I stood and ran up the stairs, gasping as I heard the monster behind me growling as it ran after me. I reached the light just as it was about to get me and flung myself up the stairs and landed with a thud.
A lot of creature features.
Yeah, right?
This time around.
Once I hit the stairs, I looked up, wet with sweat, a dull ache from where I hit the stair with my ribs. The light had turned back to white light. My friends looked at me, puzzled as I desperately crawled up the steps. My friend asked what was wrong, and I explained what I had seen. What had nearly caught me and dragged me back into the hellish darkness. I was met with even more confused glances from my friends, and when I asked why, I was told that I hadn't even turned into the basement. They watched me turn off the light and stand there staring at them for minutes, unblinkingly smiling at them until I threw myself up the stairs.
Ugh.
I don't know what I saw, or if I even saw anything. I never attempted to try again. To this day, I can't help but feel its presence watching me when I turn off that switch, terrified I may enter that place or trance again and be left with that thing in the darkness.
Dun, dun, dun.
Love it. I love it.
That was good.
It's like this personal fear that may or may not have happened, but you have this little delusion.
I will
so
think
good.
about this the next time I run up the stairs after I turn off the lights, because I do that to this day. This next story is from Reed Cutler. It was a dark night. The leaves had started to turn red and orange, but you couldn't tell what color the leaves were or if there were any because it was so dark. The oppressive clouds blotted out the stars and the moons. There was not a ray or glimmer of light in the sky. However, the town of... Oh, come on.
No, they pronounce it there.
I know. Baconegog?
Yeah.
Baconegog.
Bacon.
Why?
Dog.
Why does it need to be such a complicated name? The town of Smith. Okay. The town of Baconegog. The hearth fires are burning bright along with candles in the windows and the tables. Tonight was a night of feasting, the Celtic New Year. First, the families would eat in their homes, and then the games would begin. The games were a jolly affair with apple bobbing, javelin throwing, archery, wooden sword fighting, racing, jumping, tug-of-war, dancing, music, board games such as... Come on!
Zack should have read this.
Towelborth. That's not even... It's Tawlbwidd, and he's saying it's Towelborth?
Yeah.
There's no R in there.
It's European, Joel.
European.
All right. The three boys named Kaint, Joel, and Win were at...
Their names again.
Well, who's Win?
Are you Win?
Are you Win?
I mean...
Queen. The three boys named Kaint, Joel, and Win were at such games when Kaint, the observant one of the three, saw a flicker of light on a normally dark nearby hillside. Hey, guys, Kent said. Oh, wait, no, this is Kaint.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys, Kent said. There's a light over there, but the road doesn't go over there, The only thing is that the old lady only thing is, or was it the old manor?
Do you ever have a dream you could do?
What just happened?
Turn him off and on again.
Did I have a stroke while reading that?
You may have.
Hold on. Hey, somebody throw Kenton some rice.
Hold on. There's a light over there, but the road doesn't go over there, but the road doesn't go over there. The only thing that is, or was there is that...
Here's the problem, guys.
The only thing is that is the old manor.
I'm the observant one.
That's like a meme that's going around.
I'm the observant one.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not meant to make sense.
Thank you, because I got really concerned about my mental state while reading that sentence.
That's the point.
What was Zach's voice again?
Oh, I just became a southerner.
Whatever. I'm not going to use it.
So what? Wynn replied. I'm about to capture your king and then I win. Come on. Tallerborth.
Yeah.
Nope. Kent said with enthusiasm.
I'm back to cracking my voice.
Yeah. As he successfully defended the attack and won the game. But don't you think it's interesting? I mean, nobody lives there anymore. Not after the Lord Lewin died and it fell into disrepair. Hey, I think I see it too. It looks kind of welcoming, Joel said. I like, you guys get Kaint and Win, and I'm just Joel.
You didn't win.
Let's go check it out. I mean, what's the worst it could be? Perhaps his heir has been named and come to claim the home. I can think of several things it might be. Monsters, spirits, thief, a lunatic, maybe even the devil himself, Wynn replied. Oh, come on. Those are only in stories. Don't be a scaredy cat, Kaint said. Let's go. First, let's grab our swords so we can practice on the trail, Joel said. Ever the one to practice. Shh, be quiet. We don't want to startle whoever's inside, Kaint, the smart one, said. Also, this door doesn't look like it's been opened in a century. Just look at it. Also, the candle in the window just went out, Wynn stated. And Father will be mad if we're not back by midnight. Sorry, just saying father in this accent made me laugh. That's strange. Do you think we should go in? Hoel asked. Hoel. It says Hoel. Is that a different character? Is that a different character or is that just... No, it's probably just a typo. All right. Hoel asked, purposely ignoring Wynn's whining. Kaint slowly gave the door a push. It won't open. It's cemented in place with rust. How did they get in and light a candle then? Joel asked. Is there another entrance? Or we could turn back, Wynn proposed. Or you can shut your mouth, Joel responded. Let's circle round. I go left, you two go right, and we'll meet on the other side. As they circled the abandoned home, they looked for any way someone or something could get in, but found only one other heavy rusted door and cellar door. The latter was slightly ajar. Let's go in, Kaint said and pulled the cellar door open. Wynn lit his candle and they saw cobwebs everywhere, but behind all the webs there were shelves full of moldy and mossy books and tables of decomposing parchment with diagrams and notes too old to make out. Wow, it looks old and creepy in here, Wynn noted. Kaint looked down, pointing at the thick layer of dust on the ground, and asked, Why are our footprints the only ones in here? Wham! The cellar door slammed shut. Definitely not creepy anymore, Wynn muttered in a half whine. Open the door now, Kaint demanded. It won't budge, Joel said, now panicked.
Forgot he's a hero.
That means the only way out is through, Kaint said. Great, now we're stuck in a house with spirits and cobwebs and probably the devil.
Probably the devil,
Wynn complained. The three creeped slowly through the cellar, noting the circular diagrams on the papers and catching glimpses of the titles of some of the books like The Night of the Spirits and Mythica and Magic and How Spirits Work, all strange for a noble to have. I see the stairway, Joel whispered and ran to it, getting covered in webs in the process. It was a battered mahogany staircase with broken steps and mold covering the banister. It doesn't look too good, but I think it's our only way up, Joel said as he started to climb. With the lightness and nimbleness of their young bodies, they made it up without breaking through, but what they saw at the top of the staircase was a scene to behold. It was the main bedroom with a bed in one corner, several more books on a nightstand, and in the middle of the room a pedestal with a bowl of blue and purple liquid in it. The only way they could discern the color of the liquid was that it was glowing softly with a slight shimmer. Only as their eyes adjusted to the glow did they see that the hand resting in the bowl belonged to a skeleton standing behind it. Somehow the hollow eyes of the skull looked crazed, and the webs covered the bones. The floorboards around it were stained red, and they saw in the window the burnt candle they had seen from the outside. As they stood there stunned, the room filled with fog. Then, as one, Kaint, Joel, and Wynn screamed. Their screams seemed to breach the heavens all at once. The clouds parted, and the full moon's rays pierced the sky through the circular window and straight into the glowing vessel of water. The skeleton's hand moved out of the pool and, dipping the liquid onto its feet, it stumbled forward. Skeleton! Yes! They said the thing. They screamed again in unison. Then the skeleton muttered an unintelligible language, the last words in a century-old spell, and the glowing liquid exploded within the forms of spirits as they raced for freedom. Run! The boys screamed as they jumped and bolted from the room and found windows weak enough to break through as the vengeful spirits of the dead raced after them. A howl is still sometimes heard on the night of Halloween, or Howloween to this day, a night some may call the Night of the Spirits.
Listen, at this point, I'm just happy that the skeleton came back. Right? This is something that I've been waiting for 3 years. And so greenlit just based on that.
Based on that alone.
Our next story is by David Stewart, and it's called The Calico Cat.
We've heard from him before.
Yeah, Night of the Living Dummies, the anatomically correct.
No, we're not going to bring that up again.
The year was 1991, and I was just a teenager at that time, and my family had just moved. I was new to the area, and honestly, I was pretty afraid of the unknown. I was going to have to make new friends and learn my way around a new school. I was terrified. The first few days of school were rough. I was bumping into kids and trying to navigate my way around the halls. I even went into the wrong classroom a few times, which was pretty embarrassing. At lunch, I sat at a round table by myself as I tried to eat a sandwich my mom had packaged for me.
If any of these stories were supposed to have the Ken voice, it probably should have been this one.
Oh, do you want me to do this one?
No.
A few days turned into a few weeks, and before I knew it, several months had passed. Things got better. I was starting to actually like some of my classes, and I had come to make new friends. 2 friends had befriended me and had made an effort to include me in on lunch and after-school activities. Their names were Carl and Jeremy. Carl.
Jeremy.
I told my mom, nope, we don't want him there. I told my mom about my new friends, Carl and Jeremy. She was actually pretty excited and recommended that I invite them over for a sleepover.
Mom, Jeremy spoke in class today.
No, my mom thought this would further nurture our friendship and would be a great way for her to see who I was hanging out with. We set the date for Saturday evening at 7 p.m. I invited my friends, and they were both game. Saturday finally rolled around and the doorbell rang. There, on the porch, were my 2 friends, with pillows and blankets in tow. Jeremy even brought his Super Nintendo, which we promptly hooked up to my 27-inch JVC television.
Ooh, big TV.
The night was going great. We were laughing about things that happened in school, talked about girls we had crushes on, and chowed down on some red vines and Doritos. This is the best night ever, by the way. I even managed to talk my mom into breaking out a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
Boom.
It was a 3-liter of Shasta. Get real. Thinking back on it, it was one of the most memorable events of my childhood. After midnight, my mom and dad asked us to tone things down and get to bed. Hunkered down to the basement, we rolled out sleeping bags and blankets and laid down. I tried to get to sleep, but we kept joking and laughing. We were so tired that we were laughing about everything.
Been there.
Eventually, we get tired, and before I knew it, I was asleep. At about 2 a.m., Jeremy nudged us both awake. Hey, do you guys want to sneak out and go over to the graveyard? I heard if you go to the grave of Calvin Miller and ask who you'll marry, you'll get an answer. That's never proven true, muttered Carl. After a few minutes of discussion, we finally snuck out of the basement window. Being careful not to get caught, we snuck along the shadows of trees and tried to stay away from street lamps. I was excited and the adrenaline was flowing. I had never done anything like this before. I felt like a rebel, but I was extremely nervous at the same time. The graveyard wasn't too far away, and in about 15 minutes, we reached our destination.
So it was about 15 minutes away.
Yeah. Once at the graveyard, I tried my best not to step on the graves. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but Jeremy was throwing rocks and smacking headstones with branches.
Dude.
We finally made our way to Calvin Miller's gravestone. We laughed and asked who we would marry, knowing we probably wouldn't get an answer. While the graveyard was eerily quiet and the air seemed cooler than normal, nothing happened. We started walking back home, and I somehow managed to trip over a grave of a girl named Sarah. Sarah. I verbally apologized to the long-dead woman and kept on walking. We kept the basement window open a crack and made our ways back inside. After a few quiet laughs about the graveyard, we eventually went back to sleep. I woke up to muffled screaming as Jeremy appeared to be in a panic. It looked like a dark silhouette was grabbing him.
Clearly, I remember that dark silhouette picking on the boy.
He was actually sliding across the floor. Carl and I were terrified. We ran up the stairs to grab my parents, but the door at the top of the stairs was locked. I tried to turn on the lights, but nothing happened. None of the lights would turn on.
Turn on your flash. Oh, wait. It's 1991. I don't have phones.
Jeremy continued to scream, sounding as if his mouth was covered, and the dark figure continued to attack my friend. Objects began to fall down around the room. It felt as though a dark pressure was closing in around us. We were panicked. We couldn't do anything. My friend Jeremy started to go limp, and his whimpers faded. We tried to reach out at the dark figure, but our hands went right through him. Just as we began to give up hope, we heard the screech of a cat.
It's like the cat pulling up in a car.
We didn't have any pets, so I wasn't sure what was happening or what the animal sounds were coming from. There was just enough light to see a small calico cat with its ears back, tails puffed, and back arched.
Aww.
Where did this cat come from? Did I leave the window open? The cat began to jump and lunge toward the dark figure as if my cat knew my friend needed help. After a few minutes, my friend Jeremy began to become more lucid. The cat continued to attack the dark figure and jumped on its back. It bit, clawed, hissed, and growled at the dark figure. This went on for a few minutes. This is a lot of minutes. The dark figure backed away, ran toward a wall, and disappeared. The cat began to calm down and rubbed my leg as if it ran into my
It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. As it ran into my dad's basement office. The lights came back on. We were terrified. We couldn't believe what had happened. After making sure Jeremy was okay, I ran into my dad's office to see where the cat had gone, but it was nowhere to be seen. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Probably throwing up behind a desk or something like that.
It all sounds so robotic. We didn't talk about it that night. It terrified Carl and Jeremy. Poor Jeremy. But the experience turned out to bring us closer together. They ended up being my friends throughout the rest of middle school and on into high school. Many years later, I met Sarah. She was one of the most beautiful girls I have ever met. Upon dating her, I found out she had once lived in my house. What a coincidence. One evening, while watching a movie on the couch, she broke out her photo album containing many of her childhood memories. As we flipped through the pages, I gasped. There on page 4 was my girlfriend Sarah, and on her lap was a cat, a calico cat. She went on to tell me the cat's name was Leo. He was a wonderful pet, but he eventually got cancer.
It says cat was Leo. The cat was a Leo.
It was a Leo.
Yes. Or
He can't trust those Taurus cats. He was a wonderful pet, but eventually got cancer and had to be put to sleep.
oh,
Jeez.
why are we just throwing?
He just couldn't say it eventually had to be put to sleep.
All right.
He was eventually...
Couldn't just say the cat died because it was years ago.
You're ruining the end of the story. He was eventually buried outside what would later become my dad's office. Little did she know, the cat had managed to save my friend's life. The end.
Good kitty.
So the ghost of a kitty saved him.
Good kitty.
Yeah.
The cat, sir.
Meanwhile, during that story, I got scratched by Kent's cat. Not
Yeah, you
kidding.
did.
Oh well.
All right, I think we have time for one final story.
we actually have more stories than this.
We have more, but
We have more.
let's
We
just
gotta cut it off
Let's
here.
just
More time.
call it what it is. Our voices are broken. Our mouths don't work anymore, and we're falling apart behind the scenes.
really
okay?
are. That's so laughing.
Kent has edited it out, but we're not doing well. Okay.
There would be an extended version of this episode, but it'd just be us going.
Blah,
We try that again.
And Joel going, Evo Nabu Kadodu.
I'm sure the words aren't hard, but they're feeling really hard right now.
It's a lot of reading.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Zach, power through the final one.
Let's go with a true scary story from Brian Madsen.
I'm not even going to edit this.
Okay. Oh, yes, you are.
Nope.
For this year, instead of sharing a scary story that I wrote, I will share an experience I had one day when I was traveling
Just a true story.
down a remote Utah road, just off Highway 6 in eastern Utah.
That's a real.
There is a little-known shortcut named Emma Park Road, connecting Highway 6 to Highway 191. The road is
Californians.
Yeah. You go down the Highway 6.
Highway 5.
of Emma Park
Over to-
Road.
What are you doing here? Oh, I'm so sorry for ruining it. The road is neglected and can be dangerous to travel in certain conditions. I used to travel this road frequently because he lives life on the wild side, as it was able to cut 20 minutes off the drive when I would travel home from college. One day in 2016, while traveling in the middle of a sunny day, I saw something that I can't quite explain. I was traveling a couple hundred yards behind another pickup truck. There is a particularly straight section of Emma Park Road with a hill on the other end. As the truck in front of me was going over the hill, I saw what looked like something small. I assume a rabbit running across the road behind the truck. Not far behind the rabbit, I saw something else cross the road. What I saw was tall. Based on the proportions to the truck, I estimate at least 7 feet tall. It was skinny, so skinny that I could see the outline of where the rib cage ended. The arms on this massive, hunched creature looked to be so long that they nearly dragged the ground. The legs and head looked canine instead of human. What made this even stranger was the color. This thing was black. No visible details beyond its twisted silhouette.
Wait, so there's a weird theme going on with these stories where like it's all this kind of wolf, lanky
like
wolf
body
like
horror.
The
creature.
third one I've
Yeah.
read. It's This thing was only crossing the road for a few seconds, so fast that sometimes I question if I really saw it, but long enough for that image to be ingrained in my memory. In the years since, I've heard similar stories from others, matching all the details of what I saw, only happening at night, and what was seen being white.
Racist.
So it was exactly the same.
It doesn't matter if the creature's black or white.
One of these stories is from a college roommate describing something he saw on East Highway 132 between Nephi and Ephraim. Another friend saw something very similar on 89 while traveling from Ogden to Leyden.
That's by where
I was on the phone with him at the time. I had never told my story to either of them before this point. I don't know what I saw that day, but I do know I saw something that lacks explanation. If anyone has seen something similar, I'd love to hear your stories. And if you haven't, you still just might, because there's something strange on Utah's roads, and it doesn't only come out at night.
They
Dun,
only
dun,
come
dun.
out at night.
Something strange afoot.
Yep.
Okay.
So there you go. We ran through as many of those as we could before our mouths completely shut down.
Yeah,
Don't work.
Listen,
And
the
we're sorry.
scariest part of these stories was us trying to read them.
And we apologize to those who we weren't able to read yours on the air. Just know we did read through them all, like we did. When they submitted, we read them all, and we could only have a limited amount of time for this. But thank you for submitting, everyone who submitted, because we enjoyed reading your stories, even if they didn't make it to air. But we also want to know which of these stories you would greenlight if you were a Hollywood producer. Which one of these sent a shiver through your spine? Let us know on Facebook. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know on Twitter, because we enjoy hearing from you on social media. It's our only way to know you're out there.
So before we go, we want to thank some patrons in some very special categories, starting with I Am the Listener, and that is Sawyer Western, Mrs. Robinson, Casey Cummings, Juice the Cooler King Swallow, Cream Puff, Casper Milktoast, Jennifer Kilkowski, Taylor Sanderson, St. Shannon and Sir James West, Rocky and Steph, Adam and Rachel Crump, Ryan and Marley, Lady Terry A. Finley, and Scott Sprague knows that Brian De Palma has made some real bangers.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
And from the Bacon Council, we have Nicole, DeCal, the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Star Wars expert Kyler, the other Brit John English, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Glow Daniel, Debbie Foster, and Breaker.
Thank you, patrons. You are the bacon to our egog, or our towel to our borth. I don't know. I couldn't pronounce it anyway.
I'm so glad you did that one and not me.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me performing with Quickwits, who perform at the studio at the Parker Theater. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter at Kenny3DD. You can find me on Instagram at KentCDunn. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Zachary Western. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Please like that Facebook page and then go to @Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. After you've done that, go to tpublic.com/Baconsale and get yourself some merch. And then if you like what's going on here and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale. Support starts at just $3 a month and you can get access to all sorts of behind the scenes fun, including our almost weekly Bacon bits where we all just whine like old men. Really weird. Also, Tron's fine, I guess. There we
Tron
go.
Aries, yeah.
Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, good job, Holly Berry.
Six, seven.
No, don't.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
Why is the door nude?
It's time to enter the naked door.
Emotionally nude.
KP, be a better stalker.
Bitter like mustard.
Is that bacon? I didn't cook bacon tonight. That's impossible, Zach said. There's always bacon near you.
You guys want to go hug some girls later?
But the road doesn't go over there. But the road doesn't go over there. The only thing is, or was there, is that the old lady only thing is, or was it the old manor?
Do you ever have a dream you could do?
What just happened? Turn him off and on again.
Did I have a stroke?
Somebody throw Kenton some rice.
The hero, the adolescent, and the guy from maybe New York or Brooklyn, we're not entirely sure.
Yeah.
There will be a quiz.
I shall be there in a fortnight, father.
You're not tough skeletons. TLDR, it ugly.
Are you in? Are you win?
I mean, Ken has edited it out, but we're not doing well, okay?
But welcome to Bacon. Oh, we already said that. No. Reading.
When Henry help. Well,
What did he say?
Hop. Trying his.
I know, reading.
I just got out of meeting listening now. What?
Yep.
Sarah friend.
Wow.
It's with an E.
I wish I could report that it was just Shum, Mr. Just Shum. Just Shum. I can't. It's just so funny, though. All right, stop. All right, stop.
I'm so done.
Saturday. We had kept basement window open a crack. We kept
basement window open.
My wife and the dark we can do this.
And what was being seen? Oh, dang it!
We apologize to those we were unable to. If we weren't able to read.
So Bigor we haul.
There we go.
That's the name of the town.
I'm sure the words aren't hard, but they're feeling really hard right now.